Is your memory playing tricks on you? What if the history you learned, the pop culture you loved, and the images etched in your mind are fundamentally wrong? Prepare to question everything you thought you knew as we dive headfirst into 20 History Mandela Effects, the shocking truths that prove your memory is a lie. Get ready to have your mind blown. 20. History Mandela Effects. The shocking truths that prove your memory is a lie. The Mandela effect is a phenomenon where a large group of people share a false memory about historical events, cultural artifacts, or popular media. Coined by paranormal researcher Fiona Broome, who discovered many people incorrectly remembered Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s, it's since become a global term for these collective memory discrepancies. Whether you believe it's parallel universes, glitches in the matrix, or simply the fallibility of human memory, these historical Mandela effects are undeniably unsettling. They challenge our understanding of reality, forcing us to question the reliability of our own minds and the collective consensus of what we know to be true. Prepare to have your mind blown as we present 20 History Mandela Effects that very few people know about or simply refuse to believe, even when faced with the undeniable evidence. 1. The Monopoly Man's Monocle. What you remember. The iconic rich, top-hatted character, Rich Uncle Pennybags, the Monopoly Man, wears a monocle. The reality: he has never worn a monocle on any official Monopoly branding or game art. 2. Pikachu's tail. What you remember. The beloved Pokemon Pikachu has a black tip at the end of his tail. The reality: Pikachu's tail is entirely yellow. It has never had a black tip. 3. The Berenstain Bears spelling. What you remember. The popular children's book series is spelled Berenstain Bears. The reality: it has always been spelled Berenstain Bears. 4. Looney Tunes versus Looney Toons. What you remember. The classic cartoon series is spelled Looney Tunes. The reality: it has always been spelled Looney Tunes, as in musical tunes. 5. Darth Vader's famous line. What you remember. Darth Vader says to Luke Skywalker, "Luke, I am your father." The reality: the actual line is, "No, I am your father." 6. C-3PO's silver leg. What you remember. The golden droid. C-3PO is entirely gold. The reality: C-3PO has always had one silver leg, usually his right one. 7. Queen's "We Are the Champions" ending. What you remember. The song concludes with Freddie Mercury singing of the world after the final "We Are the Champions." The reality: the song usually fades out after "We Are the Champions" without the final "of the world." 8. St. Patrick driving out snakes. What you remember. St. Patrick literally drove all the snakes out of Ireland. The reality: there's no historical evidence that snakes ever inhabited Ireland, as it's an island nation. The story is a metaphor for driving out paganism. 9. Apollo 13's famous quote. What you remember. The famous line is, "Houston, we have a problem." The reality: the actual line spoken was, "Houston, we've had a problem." 10. Gandhi's walk to protest. What you remember. Images or mental pictures of Mahatma Gandhi during the famous Dandi Salt March show him with a full, flowing beard. The reality: photos from the Dandi March, 1930, show him with a much shorter beard, or even clean-shaven, not the long, iconic beard often associated with his later life. 11. Australia's geographical location. What you remember. Australia is situated further north, closer to Southeast Asia on world maps. The reality: Australia is generally located further south than many people recall, with a significant amount of ocean between it and Asia. 12. Henry VIII's turkey leg. What you remember, the iconic image of King Henry VIII of England, robust and jovial, holding and gnawing on a large turkey leg. The reality, there is no historical evidence or contemporary portrayal of Henry VIII ever eating a turkey leg in such a manner. Turkeys were only introduced to Europe from the Americas in the 16th century, and this image is a modern cultural invention. 13. Christopher Columbus and the Flat Earth. What you remember, Christopher Columbus sailed to prove the Earth was round, battling against the widespread belief that it was flat. The reality, educated people in Columbus's time already knew the Earth was spherical. The debate was about the Earth's circumference and whether a westward journey to Asia was feasible, not its shape. 14. Marie Antoinette's "Let them eat cake." What you remember, the French Queen Marie Antoinette famously uttered the callous phrase "let them eat cake" when told the peasants had no bread. The reality, there is no credible historical evidence that Marie Antoinette ever said this. The phrase actually predates her and was attributed to other French royalty. 15. The Shazaam movie with Sinbad. What you remember? A 1990s movie starring comedian Sinbad as a genie named Shazaam. The reality, no such movie ever existed. Many confuse it with Shaquille O'Neal's Kazam or other genie movies. The collective memory of a Sinbad genie movie is a very strong Mandela effect. 16. Nelson Mandela's death in prison. What you remember, Nelson Mandela died in prison in the 1980s. The reality, Nelson Mandela was released from prison in 1990 and died in 2013, well after becoming president of South Africa. This is the original namesake example of the Mandela effect. 17. Fruit of the Loom logo. What you remember, the fruit of the Loom logo includes a cornucopia, horn of plenty, behind the fruit. The reality, the cornucopia has never been part of the official Fruit of the Loom logo. It's always just been the fruit and leaves. 18. Jaws, we're gonna need a bigger boat. What you remember, Brody says, we're gonna need a bigger boat. The reality, the exact line is, you're gonna need a bigger boat. A subtle but often misremembered pronoun. 19. Mirror, mirror on the wall. What you remember, the evil queen in Snow White says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" The reality, the actual line is, "Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?" 20. Mona Lisa's smile. What you remember, the Mona Lisa's smile is consistently enigmatic. Sometimes it looks like she's smiling, sometimes not. The reality, when observed directly, the Mona Lisa's smile is always present and doesn't change based on your viewing angle or focus, though its subtlety creates the optical illusion. These historical Mandela effects serve as a humbling reminder of how fragile and malleable memory can be, both individually and collectively. They prompt us to question sources, verify facts, and perhaps to wonder about the nature of our shared reality itself.